everybody. It is 12:59 on this Thursday, the 23rd of August. It's crazy it's the 23rd of August, by the way. It is just nuts. And I hear thunder outside. We might get some rain. All right. The last thing that we need here is that. Okay, so looking at what we got going on, I'm really excited about talking about today because so much cool stuff. We are at the market bottoms, and I'm saying that just based on technicals, like we are at the yearly lows because we're just trading slightly above it. And one of the things that we learn in one of the first things, if you ever learn about technical analysis, you take any like the chartered market technicians material, the first thing they go over is the Dow theory. And I think a lot of people are probably pretty familiar with Dow theory. It's the foundations of technical analysis. And one of the conditions that you find yourself in is the rotation of those various markets. So we have we have a expansion phase, public participation, followed by the excess, followed by the profit taking, followed by the distribution / profit taking, followed by panic, and then we get into consolidation end. So there's two things that we have to be aware of when we're looking at a turn in a market, or if we're looking for a evidence of a market bottom. And one of them is a basing of prices. So our prices, are they forming a tighter trading range? Yes, they clearly are. In fact, they've been forming a tighter trading range ever since April, actually ever since March. And we've been trading in these lows for a while now. In fact, this is the longest tight range that we've traded all year in this entire zone. So from August 11th to where we are currently, this is the longest amount of time we've spent in this the whole year in a short period of time. Or not in a short period of time, but over a length of time in this type of a range. This is as long as we've spent. Now, we had that massive drive up in price. Okay. Oh, these are Dow futures. Dow's going to sell off soon, hopefully. Crap, where did I put it? Okay, here we are. So, Bitcoin. Remember this triangle we were talking about here at number one? We're talking about the price basing here. And then we had the technical breakout that we knew was going to happen. The fact that the BitMEX thing happened is just more of a coincidence. It's a correlation. It's not causation. And then we had prices yesterday sell off big time. Okay, when we got off the horn together, we had seen prices just drive down lower. Actually, well, that was yesterday. And looking at today, we're actually having a slow trend up. Something happened last night near the end of the day that wasn't supposed to be announced until today. The SEC decided they were not going to decide. We were talking about this, the Pro Shares, NASDAQ ARCA, or NICE ARCA ETF. They decided that it was not going to happen, okay? So that's 9 Bitcoin ETFs that have been rejected and or pushed back for a decision. Here's the thing, though. When that happened, what did the price do? All right, what did price do when that happened? Nothing. It did not do a damn thing. It had a little bit of selling pressure, but it promptly got bought up. How does this relate to the Dow theory? So the first component that we look at in a market reversal in a consolidation zone / accumulation is that the prices stop moving in any major trend. Okay, that is what's happening now. Additionally, because this happens usually near the end of a bear move, the news and the sentiment of the traders, so like the emotional condition of the aggregate traders is one of a bad mood, depressed, fear, uncertainty, doubt, FUD, another name for it, fear, uncertainty, doubt, anxiety. That's what the traders are like right now. Okay, so that is a contributing factor to lower prices. But then we hear news come out, and news like the ETF debacle, that has moved this market a lot. Okay, whenever the ETF issue has come up and it's not gone anywhere, like it's been denied or pushed back, this market likes to drop off quite a bit. That did not happen yesterday. I was watching that pretty closely. All we've done is actually start trading higher. And so when that happens, to me, that is telling us that we have actually hit, well, it's further evidence of a market bottom. And actually, we're trading above this trend line now, and we're just slowly but surely drifting higher here. We may get a sell-off again at the end of the day, who knows? But otherwise, we're showing some pretty bullish price action and some nice volume coming in too. So we're at 64.55. We're not far away from the 6,500. That is a important level psychologically. So yeah, it's a pretty cool deal. Yesterday we talked a little bit about the mirrored foldback, and I wrote, because we were talking about it, I actually wrote an article on it on a site that I write for. If I can get that pulled up here. La 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 la. Where are you at? And so did a mirrored foldback update. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I'll just go over it one more time. So we're looking at this is from June 18th. Okay, we looked at the trade idea I did yesterday. June 18th, this is Bitcoin. The price where the blue vertical line is, that is where June 18th is. And then if we look at the one next to it, this is what we see here. So the mirrored foldback pattern is one that we see reflected in a lot of markets. We're not looking to see the exact price ranges trade. We're looking to see the structure of it trade the same. So when I'm looking at the price action of the past, and I'm going to say this too because my wife made this point. We were talking about my work and stuff, and she asked about like, well, what happens with price in the past, and I said, well, past performance is not indicative of future results. You know, that old mantra. And she said, well, in my field, past performance is the only way that we can determine future behavior, because she's a psychologist. And when she said that, I was like, mind blown. That makes total sense, because markets are very, very psychological. In fact, that's pretty much how we react to them. And I was like, that is a good idea. I know from like with people who are not investors, or who are investors, or who try to sell, who try to give investment advice, you know, they always have to say things like trading or derivatives trading or whatever involves substantial risk is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. That's my disclaimer too. Okay, but if I'm looking at this pattern here, you know, it doesn't have to line up in time exact either, but what am I seeing? I'm seeing a base here. There's a base here. So we should see a rise in price. All right. We should see a rise in price. And how common is this pattern? It's pretty common. This is the monthly chart of the dollar yen. We looked at that yesterday. This is a daily chart of the pound dollar forex pair. This is a weekly soybean futures chart. A long trade going forward. Looking at Bitcoin in the short term here. I'm on a 5-minute. What the heck? On the 4-hour chart in Bitcoin, we've got a pretty nice looking zone coming up here. We're going to get, hopefully, a buy signal on the 4-hour chart soon. So that buy signal is definitely going to be above 6,500. That's going to be at 65.58. That's where I see on my screen where there's a long entry, or sorry, yeah, 65, 55, 65, 58. That is all part of it. And there's also some other things, and we can get into the meat and potatoes there. So let's go ahead and look at what's happening coming up ahead. I want to use a cleaner chart for this, a new one. Okay, now we don't have, again, one of my big complaints with Optima is they don't have live crypto data, which is weird. So we have this activity going on right here. This looks like an inverse head, or looks like a head and shoulders setup, but right now we're kind of rejecting that on the current price action. But what I want to take a look at, I'm going to change the color here. Where are you at? Color scheme. I like swing relations. If you have charts that do this, swing relations, all this means is that it'll highlight the outside bars and inside bars. So black candlesticks here are inside bars, and then blue are outside bars. All right, and then obviously you have, you know, if the wicks were higher than the previous, then they color them green, even though this is a bearish candle, and so forth. But I like swing relations because it helps me, at least. I'm a visual guy, so this helps. So looking at the blankness here, I want to look at a couple things. We're going to do some financial astrology here, and I know people think that that's weird, but you stick around here, you're gonna get into this, or you're gonna at least hear it from me. So on the moon phases, what do we have coming up ahead? Well, on the 26th, we have a full moon. All right, a full moon on the 26th. And we also have some other activity. In fact, I thought I made a little sheet on this. Maybe I didn't. We're going to get to some trade ideas today, too. Okay, so let's see that there. Okay, yep. I want to do a couple astro aspects. So again, aspects are just a measurement of where a planet is relative to the Earth or the Sun. So we have a circle around the planet. Think of it like things orbit, so they travel in a circle, not a perfect circle, but they orbit in a circle. And there's a certain amount of degrees. So if you think of it, if you were looking at the Earth and the planets from top down, it would look like like a compass. You'd have cardinal directions in there. So where is my ephemeris? Right here. So this is basically what we'd be looking at. The Earth is in the middle. The degrees of the... Ooh. Oh, yeah, that happens this year. The planets sitting on there in wherever they're at. We're just looking for the angle, the longitudinal angle, and that gets transposed onto a chart. Okay, that's all it is. And some aspects show frequent market turns or market behavior. So this is the Sun-Pluto cycle. One of the ones that is the Sun is pretty much a big one that you always have there. But we have Sun, Mars, and the aspects. If we do the conjunctions or the oppositions, we have the Sun opposite Mars right there. That was near a swing high. Okay, there's also we also look for, where are you at? The Sun and What is it? Mercury is a trigger planet. Mercury aspects, that is, we wanted conjunctions. So Sun Mercury conjunctions, those are these brown bars. Look at where they show up. Okay? Sun Mercury conjunction showed up here near a bottom. Sun Mercury conjunction was here at a little bit of a swing high, a swing low, a swing high, near a swing high. Not really anything, not really anything. Kind of a swing high. Not really anything, a swing high. But the Sun Mercury shows up and there is a lot of activity usually. The thing that you want to notice when you're looking for aspects is there a moon phase around that date? So really you want to have the moon phase 1-2 days before or after, or preferably right on. So here was a full moon with a Mercury Sun conjunction, followed by a big rise here. We had another full moon with the Sun opposite Mars, followed by some selling. All right. When you get a collection of those together, you get a lot of activity. So that's Sun Mercury. We also look for what else? Squares. Right here, there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened on the 25th. There was a Sun square Apollon, Uranus square the Sun, and Mars was opposite the Sun, all in this area. Right in front of us, though, we've got some interesting things going on. Trines are generally a positive mover in any market. And if we look at what's coming up ahead here, we have this full moon on the 26th, followed by, well, actually right before that, on the 25th, we have two beneficial aspects that show up. We have Uranus trine the Sun, and Saturn and the Sun are trine. These are favorable, positive aspects, along with a moon phase, and we're near a swing low. So that's literally like kind of a heads up saying, by the way, this has a high probability of going up. Trines do appear at swing highs. Actually, the trines, we just really want to notice what kind of a swing do they show up at, and if there's a moon phase, what does it do? Any aspect that shows up near a swing high or a swing low, if there's a moon phase, has a high probability of going in the opposite direction. So that's what we have going on here. And oh man, I forgot his name. He wrote a book, and you know what? We're trying to catalog all my notes. So forgive me for 1 second while I find this in here. Okay, this was financial forecasting. And what did he write? Dang it. Give me 1 second. I will try not to take forever here. And I think I have it in there. Let's see here. Trines. Looking for he did a study on the moon phases over from 1886 to 2013, I think, is what he did. But I'm not really seeing it in here. I thought I wrote it down, but damn it. If I did, I don't see it, and I don't want to... Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so he did a study of the Dow Jones moon phases from 1885 to 2013. And according to the efficiency test, the strongest period to trade around moon phases was 3 days before a new moon or a full moon. And that is really where we're sitting at right now. We are sitting 3 days before that moon phase. And so that is something to look forward to. The other things that we look for is we look for retrograde cycles. And right now, like when Mercury goes retrograde multiple times during the year. I think 4 times in the year it does that. And when... Oh, thank you. Compilation channel, thank you. When we had the swing high here when Mercury went into retrograde, and now when it exited was the 19th, and we are forming somewhat of a bullish bias here. It's always interesting to see the Mercury retrogrades and plot them out and figure out when they start and when they end, because if you find yourself at some type of swing, you'll often find the retrograde cycle beginning, ending a bottoming or a topping pattern. It's weird how this stuff plays out, but you know, so Mercury is one to watch. Venus is not as frequent. Then we have Mars. Mars goes retrograde, I think, once a year. And look where Mars ends its retrograde cycle. On that full moon. Right? On the 26th, Mars is no longer retrograde. Big friggin' deal. And when Mars started the retrograde cycle, we had a rise in the market. All right? We can go back in time and look at the Mars phases and look at what happens when you start the retrograde cycle. So we had a flat market up until we got into the Mars retrograde cycle, followed by a large rise. We can go back in time again. Really wasn't much to see here, except we did start high and we traveled down low. We basically have the inverse price action of what we're seeing right now currently. Previous Mars cycle. Mars retrograde. So these things are not anomalies. These things are not random. They are there's these types of phases. These are fixed. You know, they don't what's the word I'm looking for? They don't change. And the thing we got to understand is that financial astrology, it's the study of the relationships between the movements of the planets and human behavior. And Newton's second law actually applies to astronomy because the effect of astrology on markets is due to the end result of the tug of war. Little notes I took. So right up in front of us, we are exiting a Mars retrograde cycle. We have 2 favorable trines here, and we have a moon phase. This is a big friggin' deal. In fact, if we have an apogee perigee there, that'll be pretty interesting. Holy shit, we do. Pardon my French. There's an apogee perigee right around that ways too. Not surprising, we're seeing a lot of volume here. This is the frustrating part about this, because one of the things that I get caught up on too much is I get caught up in the day-to-day trade, and I sometimes neglect to see what is farther out. And that is happening today. I've neglected to, well, not really, but there's a ton of stuff right in front of us here. I don't think there's another retrograde cycle that we have. Let me see. You know what? I want to get rid of that info there. Retrogrades, we have Mars up, but Jupiter, Saturn ends pretty soon too. Damn. Uranus, we actually entered. Uranus is right there. Actually, if we go back in time, I think Uranus's retrograde is always associated with a rise in the market. Nope, except for Mt. Gox. But otherwise, yes. Oh, except for there too. Oops. Okay. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto's retrograde. Yeah, when Pluto's retrograde started, we had a drop there, didn't we? Interesting. So we've got a ton of those things that we have an apogee. Actually, we have a moon apogee here. Apogee, perigee, or apogee, perigee, however you pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced both ways. But all that means is that the moon is farthest away from the Earth, or it's the closest to the Earth. That is all that means. Looking at another, we're looking for sign changes. So when we're talking about sign changes, we're looking at when a planet rotates into a new 30-degree collection of angles. So not talking about so 30 and 60 degrees is called Taurus, or 60 to 90 degrees is called Gemini. That is just the name given to a measurement of 30-degree increments. Okay, that's all it is. I don't know, some people who have been using financial astrology for years, if you tell them that some planet is in, like Mercury's in Leo, then they already know the degrees. I have not got these memorized yet. I don't. But one thing we want to know is what happens when planets cross, especially the slow ones. When they cross into signs, things move. Actually want to go over those with you quick. I mean, things do move. It's pretty interesting. So if we look at Bitcoin, looking for sign changes, tools, sign changes. All right, so that's telling us, and I want to do this, orb, full size height. So this is when Mercury is going to hit every single sign. Venus, Mars will not hit every sign. When Mars goes into signs, it's a little different. I'll just get rid of that. I don't need that. Oops. Didn't mean to get rid of that one. Sign changes. The first one we always want to look at is the sun. So when the sun changes signs, some signs cause more moves than others. And the cardinal signs, what we look for. But there's the sun, and then the slower planets, those are the ones we really want to look for, like Jupiter. When Jupiter enters signs, that's a big deal. Jupiter spends quite a bit of time in each one. I don't remember exactly how long. Good thing I got my notes. Not that this is overly important, but by the way, if you have questions while we're going through here, just let me know. Okay, yeah, it stays in the sign for about a year. So Jupiter entered in here into Scorpio, and then in November it goes into Sagittarius. And if we scroll back, yeah. So Jupiter, then we have Saturn's sign. When Saturn got into Capricorn, that's where our bear market started. look at, so when we see Saturn like crossing like this means Saturn was in its retrograde cycle when you see it popping in like this. But we can see that Saturn's crossing into Sagittarius was all met with market lows. And Saturn stays in the sign for about 2.5 years. So for 2.5 years, we see Saturn is sitting in here. And then after Saturn, we get, this is the big boy. It's related to the sign of Aquarius, rules, physics, and astrology. Reading my financial astrology notes. It's the antithesis of Saturn from the perspective of new and unusual. That is, that's actually a bullish condition. Uranus is associated with technology, change, and technology and change. It stays in a period in a zodiac stays in the sign for 7 years. And we're going into Taurus. Oh yeah, there was a big thing like on this. So not to get all like all tinfoil hatty Madam Cleo on you, but Taurus in financial astrology is associated with money, tradition, and stability. And Uranus is associated with change, technology, and instability. And so the astrological behavior in financial astrology, what that means is that Taurus is like the money sign. And so what this means is that we have a planet that represents change and technology moving into the money sign. So I mean, just wrap your heads around the implications of what that means. It means that Taurus, which represents stability, is experiencing a whole bunch of change because Uranus is, I hate the name of that planet, damn it. It just, yeah. Cryptocurrencies in this area should see a nice rise moving forward. I want to increase the blank bars by yeah, that should be interesting. And then we have finally Neptune, which is all over there. Pluto we probably won't see because Pluto stays in the sign for like 20 years. So obviously we don't see that one. But anyways, that is what we've got going on there. So the urinal cycle and the transition into Taurus here, big freaking deal. Because Saturn also transitioned into there as well. So we can just see this on this ephemeris. You know, Uranus is about to cross into Taurus. This video, guys, I think we should come back to this and somebody remind me. It's the 23rd of August. Maybe I'll make myself a note after this, but we should make a note to reference this video later after Uranus crosses into Taurus, because it is very, very, very likely that all markets will experience some type of nastiness as we're moving forward. All right, very, very probable that we'll see that. And then Saturn also crosses into what is over here, Sagittarius. Oh, see, one of my co-workers at Forex Lens, there's only 3 of us, made a little note there so I don't, because my ADD will make me forget. So all right, got that all down. I think I got pretty wordy in there about all that. So now let's look at the crypto markets in general and see if if there's any buying opportunities that I spot. So I'm just going to write here in chat that I want to see the lagging span cross above the 4-hour chart. it's been a while since that's happened. Okay, so we want to see the lagging span cross above. So if I want to add to Bitcoin, if I want to buy some, then I want to see two things. I want to see price to get above the baseline and the lagging span to be above. So 65.75 is where I would be. Nasty good or nasty bad? That depends where the markets are at the moment. So the dollar, for example, is doing very well. So it's very the thing is that it's very likely that things that are at their in currency markets are going to have a very very interesting time. Some will react very positively, some will react very negatively, and it's very possible because we're already in this phase that we're close to it that that could already be happening. So for cryptocurrencies, it's positive. Okay, it's positive because Uranus is the real opposite of Taurus, and so it forces change. That's what Uranus is. It's change. It's the planet that symbolizes shit's about to go down. That's what that planet means. That's what they say. So I'm looking at Bitcoin 65.75. Here's my at 575, and then price would also be above the baseline. 4-hour Ichimoku. Looking at Litecoin, probably going to see a similar setup. Certainly we do. Although, Litecoin though, if it breaks this angle, we can probably negate having to wait for that. If Litecoin breaks, oh my gosh, I have to actually buy some if it's sitting here just fine. Gosh, this is a tight range. Holy cow. Really no other reason not to. Ethereum. I only want to get back into Ethereum though after we cross back above here. So that would be the price would be back above this Gann angle. Lagging span would have to be all above it. It's a weak looking chart. Not going to touch it. Cardano. Very similar to what ETH looks like. But we have volume coming in. Yeah, not seeing a nice trade there yet. Walton Chain. Actually, damn, that's actually a good thing we looked at this. So, just so happens that this triangle or this flag pattern that we just broke above in Walton Chain on the 4-hour also broke above this Gann angle. So, if we close above this, the behavior is for price to test the next angle above it, and that is right there, this angle. So, all the conditions are great for longs on Walton Chain. But I might wait for a pullback to 3 even. Okay, Nano. You beautiful, beautiful beast, you. Oh, man. Nano is certainly getting a pennant on here. There's going to be a breakout. If it gets above that 45, that's going to be pretty wild. The 4-hour, we're good all along the 4-hour. What's the 1-hour look like? Ooh, that looks way different. Why is that? You see the daily. Daily chart says that we're facing resistance up here with elevated conditions, but that doesn't mean anything. The 4-hour says we're that doesn't even look the same, does it? What in the heck? Oh no, it is. Well, on the 1-hour we're above it. but the lagging span might face pressure. You know, really, I mean, we've got these two tops of these wicks. I'm not a huge fan of these subjective areas of support and resistance based just on previous price action. I don't think they're as reliable as this here. Ooh. Well, that is a good sign. Yeah, we're facing a trend reversal near this pivot. This pivot is going to signal either some short-term resistance, but, oh no, never mind. This blue line is the ultimate low that Nano should have ever seen. You know, if we're following price level harmonics, then this was the lowest price that Nano should have seen. The fact that it drove under it was just turning into a bunch of buying opportunities, in my opinion. And now we are sitting in a pretty cool place. But I'd like to see a break of these highs. Gosh, I want to see a pullback, but damn, this guy has... I mean, Nano's just been on fire for a while. Come back. It's got an inside bar on the daily so far. What do we see in the 4 hour? I mean, this is looking pretty difficult to trade above. I'll come back to that. Basic attention token. That one by if there's a trend line there, I'm looking at the 22.98. However, oh, that's pretty much it. Lagging span above, that would be 22. Yeah, we'll just say 23. That's on the 4 hour Ichimoku. Could see a nice breakout there. That'd be nice. We have XLM. Got going on there. No, not seeing a good one there. EOS. I think EOS might catch a nice bid later on. Not seeing it there. That's a lot of volume pouring in there. Bitcoin Gold. Dash. If we get above this Gann angle again, so basically close above the 4 hour conversion line, this momentum line will more than likely give us a lift higher. Dash as at like 143. And if anybody has any coins they want me to take a peek at, let me know. Again, while I'm going through these, just want to let you know that this is free until August 31st. And we have a Telegram channel. And just be aware of that. ZEC. So really not as concerned about the conditions of the lagging span here. Well, I am actually. OMG. ETC. What's Steam look like? What's Steam doing? Alright, that's fine. Lisk. Damn it. Oh, that sucks. I had a buy sitting at the cloud here. Oh my god. That blows. Shoot. Oh, that's aggravating. Oh well. Do you have any quick scalping strategies for crypto that you can show us? Quick scalping strategies for crypto. There are, except we want a more liquid market. we definitely want a more liquid market. And the scalping strategies, I think when I was doing it last fall and into the winter, I was limiting it to just a few pairs, and they were the what I did it a lot on was the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. This is the crypto trader's dream pair. This, I mean, so people who don't want to short the market because they're not comfortable with it, or they don't want to go out of Kraken or Poloniex, or if they're not a accredited investor where they can open up an account, overseas. I'm talking if you're in the U.S. Then your options are kind of limited. Then if you just want to do it off of like Binance, so one option is to trade off of the Ethereum Bitcoin chart and basically take signals off of that. So whenever Ethereum is, and I don't trade like this pair, like I don't pick up. I mean, I'll go like this. So let's say I had a buy that I wanted to take because I'm thinking, okay, well, Ethereum should outperform Bitcoin. Well, then I would buy some Ethereum with the Ethereum dollar pair. And then once I saw like over here, let's say I was trading, I was like, well, let's see, Ethereum's performing worse against Bitcoin. So then I would sell my Ethereum into Bitcoin. There's different ways that you could do it. Just like swapping them out. So, it's kind of up to you. And there's ETH BTC, and I don't think there's a BTC ETH pair, but you kind of got to go around it a different way. But this is probably one of the more fun pairs to trade. I think Litecoin used to be good on scalping, but Mohammed, you're definitely on the right track here, because once liquidity picks up again, the scalping is going to be a whole lot more efficient. Just right now, it's too. It's just not a great market for it right now. Anyways, kind of a shortened day today, but tomorrow we should have a pretty nice day to talk about stuff. Thanks for listening to all the weird financial astrology things going on. I hope you guys have had a great trading week. Hope you guys have a good rest of your trade day, and I will talk with you tomorrow. Bye bye.